Hey guys, Stutter Coach here, Nick Tunbridge. It's been a little while since I last posted a video, got caught up with some other things, so here I am again. And today what I want to talk about is disclosure. Do you, as a person who stutters, do you disclose that you have a stutter? And this is quite an interesting subject because a lot of people who stutter have specific views on this. Some are very proactive and very vocal about the fact they stutter, and others aren't at all. So I wanted to just have a chat to you and just take you through what I believe might be appropriate just based on my own experiences, and certainly when I've spoken to other people who stutter, what their feelings have been and where have they had success, where they've disclosed, and where perhaps haven't they had success. So first of all, the thing about stuttering that I think all people who stutter should remember is that to us, we are very focused on our stutter. So we're aware of every time we have a block or a repetition, or we feel high anxiety, or we feel embarrassed. The people that we're talking to aren't aware anywhere nearly as much as we are. So what we may think are stutters and blocks, they may not necessarily even pick up. Sometimes they will, of course. If you are a severe stutterer, it's obvious that you are stuttering, so they will know. But quite often people don't pick it up. They're preoccupied, they're thinking about other things, even though you're talking to them, and they may not necessarily be aware. So it's worth bearing that in mind when you're engaging people. The other thing to think about is we know a lot about stuttering because we live it every day, but the vast majority of people know nothing about it. And they may not even realise that you're stuttering. They may think that you're having some other issue. You may be having a fit. You may be doing all sorts of other things, and they may not necessarily connect the fact you have a speech impediment and you stutter. I know that sounds crazy, but it has been a proven thing that most of the population is quite ignorant about stuttering, which is really important in certain situations that you consider that. Say, for example, at a job interview, if you're going through the job interview process and you don't disclose that you are a person who stutters, then you're leaving yourself quite open to them interpreting that stutter as something else. What could they interpret that stutter as? They could interpret it as extreme nervousness, even that you're being dishonest and that you're grappling for a word because you're making things up. I know, but it's true. And it's really not putting yourself in a really good light or a good position, particularly in a situation like a job interview, unless you do disclose. And I'll talk a little bit more about this, but there are ways that you can disclose. You know, you can be quite proactive and you can be quite passive about disclosure. And I think both have their place. The other thing to think through as well about disclosure is in social situations. I'm not a believer of disclosing in social situations. The key thing for people who are stuttering in a social situation is to make sure that you make the person that you're talking to feel comfortable. If you're very nervous and you're caught up and you're going through a really difficult time with your stutter and you're pushing that anxiety onto the person that you're talking to, it's a rapport killer. And people don't like to feel embarrassed, and they don't like to feel badly about the person that they're talking to. They don't want to feel that that person is going through stress or through pain. And what typically, again, most people will do is they'll want to get out of the situation. So it's far better not to perhaps worry about your stutter, but even if you are stuttering, let people know that you're quite comfortable with it, that you're relaxed. And you can do that through body language, you can do that through smiling. You can even make a comment through the conversation that, oh, I'm stuttering a lot today, better get my head together. Whatever, as long as you're comfortable with it and you tell them in your body language and how you're engaging them that you're comfortable about your stutter. if you're comfortable and you're relaxed, and you're in your skin, if you like, in a positive and comfortable way, you will not break rapport. If you're anxious, you're concerned, and all you're emanating is that you want to get out of the situation, you will kill rapport, and people will want to get away from you, generally. So let's talk about disclosure. Let's talk about disclosure in the workplace, job interviews, and so forth. More formal environments. I think the first thing is, if you're going for a job and you've got job interviews, really, if you wing it and you have spontaneous fluency and you get through the job interview, no one will have a clue that you stutter. So I think you owe yourself the favour of really positioning your stutter at that job interview. And you can do that either passively or non-passively. Passively would be, you can have it on your resume that one of your achievements is managing your stutter, that you are a person who stutters and that you manage your stutter and you belong to self-help groups and whatever that may be. So it's on your resume. If you have a LinkedIn profile, the same thing. You can put it on your LinkedIn profile, but again, not a headliner, just down in the body that you may perhaps belong to a group of people who stutter. So it's there and it's on public domain. If you want to make it more proactive about your disclosure, particularly if you're going into the job interview and you're having a really bad day with your speech and you're very tense and you've really built this job interview up as being a really important thing and you're worried about the fragility of your speech, bring it up pretty early in the interview and say, look, I am a person who stutters, and whatever your words are. A word that I've used are, I have techniques that I use to manage my fluency, and I do speak fairly slowly, and I would like to use my techniques in this interview. And what that does is, it sort of, for you, and this is all about you, what that does is it takes away the stress for you. In some instances, it takes it away a lot. In other instances, it takes it away just a little. But it gives you, if you like, permission to use your technique, and you feel hopefully more comfortable in being able to use your techniques, and you'll have a better interview. So you'll have a better interview. You'll be able to position yourself appropriately, and you'll be able to disclose in a professional and proactive way. Disclose and move on. Don't disclose and keep talking about it. It's out there. Put it out for a couple of minutes. Get out. If they ask you questions about it, that's fine. But don't make it a distraction. Get on with the interview. In the workplace, again, you may be open plan, you may be on the phone, you may have... So if you haven't disclosed and there's not accommodation for you within that work environment, you're going to find it very, very stressful. So once again, use your techniques publicly. Put a little sign in your workstation or your partition, I'm a person who stutters, so that people can make room for you and they can at least sort of mentally understand that that's what you do. And people won't have an issue. By and large, people are great, so there's no issues. Socially, have fun. If you're stuttering, that's okay. But make sure that you let people know that you're comfortable with your stutter and that you are managing it in a good way, and that that you sit in your skin well, and that you're really happy to be there and you're really happy to have that conversation with them. Okay guys, I look forward to posting another tutorial very, very soon. And if you've got any questions, please leave me comments. Please like my videos, and please subscribe. Thank you very much. I wish you well. Stay fluent, and let me know on any subject you specifically want me to cover off. Talk to you soon. See ya.